Hey guys, it's West here, back with another Summoners War video. Today we are going to be showing the May giveaway account. We just finished up the April one yesterday. I uploaded that video. So if you didn't check that out, go ahead and check out the winner of that one, see what the account looked like at the end. There was a little bit of summoning in there that turned out pretty interesting, if I do say so myself. So we are on this new account, the G Cookie 3 giveaway account. And yeah, so we're starting at level 8. Something I haven't done in the past, which I want to do in this video a little bit, is just talk about some of my process with creating the teams, the way I progress through and try to get these accounts leveled up as quickly as possible. Because I am sometimes surprised myself with the amount of progress that I'm able to smash into the period of 1 month. Of course, last time on the account, or last month's account, I don't feel like we got as far as I would have liked to. Like I said, I would have rather to have had Vero, and there's all sorts of other progression that I would have liked to have. But you know, you go ahead and you can see the monsters here. The first thing I like to do right away is get my rep monsters. I like to find water monsters with AoEs, as those monsters are going to help me clear the initial clear of Famine. And so, you know, that's the most important part of the most difficult step, I would say, is getting through Famine, and of course that is mitigated by the mentor system that Summoners War implemented a little while back, a few months back is what it feels like. It's probably been 6 or 7 months by now, even longer. I'm not 100% sure on the timing, but now you can select mentors to give you reps. Essentially, it's a high-level player, or hopefully a high-level player's rep, at least a level 50 account. So you can assume that the rep monster has at least decent enough runes to clear Fame and Normal, and that has always been the case. I've never had a situation so dire as to where my rep monster did not complete that, or to where I had a rep monster that wasn't able to clear that when I was leveling up one of these accounts. It has only been 2 times that I've gone through. Recently, of course, with the April account and the March account before that. And like I said, I didn't really see any problems. Worst comes to worst, you grab Magic Knights, and Magic Knight's 3rd skill will carry you all the way through. Any tiny amount of speed is more than enough to be enough to outspeed the waves and therefore clear the Famine stage, because honestly the monster itself, being 5-star at least, instantly gives you the stat requirements to complete the normal stage. So I've never had any issues with that. So I like to grab those right away, right off the bat, because of course that's going to be the most difficult part. We can usually clear Fame and Normal the very first stage with our own team, so I'll show you here in a minute. We just reached level 8, so we unlocked the new challenge system here, where we get all these challenges from Reina. These are really, really useful when you're starting out. I stress this a lot in my beginner guide, and I'll of course use the tips that I've given away in my beginner guide here, because it is extremely important. So the first thing I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and clear Giant Speed 1. I did that, but it was prior to the challenge, so this is what I'm using right now. So I was thinking of different team designs. Just something I want to talk about while I let this run go. I was thinking of different possible team designs. Of course, they're all more ideas than anything else. Of maybe creating a full wind team that has dots, it has the utility it needs, and utilizes some lesser used monsters in the Giants stages, or at least that I've seen in the Giant stages, not the staple monsters. Of course, just to see if that gets the progression rolling any faster. I was thinking about using the Wind Inagami with the you get the Wind Yeti as well through challenges. So Wind Inagami as my defense breaker, my stripper, as well as the speed lead, which would help a lot for Shannon and Bernard, because 23% is very sizable, especially early on. That's basically a slot 2 rune, a slot 2 4-star rune, getting close to the stats of a stat 4, or I mean a slot 2 5-star speed rune, you know, at plus 12, getting close to that kind of stat, 6 speed under that. But it's a very sizable amount of speed to give your entire team, which lowers the rune requirements and potentially makes it so you can put an HP or defense slot 2 rather than a speed slot 2. And just some things that I've been thinking about, using the Wind Inagami with the Wind Yeti, and having Shannon Bernard, and then a +1 being some kind of wind damage dealer, maybe a wind elemental, something like that, just to play around and see if that'll help us progress any faster. Of course, I've been very, I don't know what the right word would be here. I've been very hesitant to try anything like that because, of course, I don't want to waste any time or resources that I don't have to. Of course, I do have to complete this account within the span of a month, so any setback, no matter how small, even a one-day setback, can really add up. And so what I've just done here is I've completed the B1, unlocked the challenges, gone back and checked the strategy info, which allows us to get Shannon, a really huge step in the game because attack buff and defense buff is really, really good for our survivability. You can see I am working on getting just a few really, really basic, I just needed the set bonus for Shannon, really basic Swift runes, just because, like I said, I do want the set bonus so that Shannon has that little bit of extra speed, and she's going to be the next one to go into this team. I'm going to be taking out the Water Fairy and putting in Shannon, and then eventually the Fire Hellhound will come out very shortly for Haidini runes so that I can complete it. And I'm going to fly through this. I'm going to make this video just a little bit longer so I can show you guys live, what I do. I'm not going to speed it up or do any skip cuts or anything. It's just going to be raw video footage because the process of completing Feynman, it can take around an hour depending on, what you do, what teams you bring. And I just want to show you the build up to that. And usually by getting Shannon here, you're able to really do a lot in terms of speeding up how fast your team can clear, making your team survive longer. Because one of the issues you'll see early on is that it's just so hard to get any kind of raw stats that even your Magic Knight survivability will sometimes struggle just because, your runes are 2 and 3 star at this point. If you stayed and grinded longer, that's great, but it's extra time that you've spent on grinding rather than trying to brute force it. And here, of course, I don't need to manual it just because I'm very confident that my team can complete this with Magic Knight's AoEs, and the Wind Vagabond does a fair amount of damage, to a normal stage like this, so I'm not really worried about failing. So I just, auto my way through here, just try to get a whatever slot or whatever type of rune for the slot so that my Shannon can at least have a full Swift set. Sometimes it can take a while, which is a little bit irritating because RNG isn't always on your side. Sometimes I've gotten monster drops out of every other stage, which is huge because that 3-star food really adds up. But at the same time, you can't really go and expect that every run, so some run-throughs on accounts are different than others. What I am hoping to do, however, is get something really nice at the start of the game, Nat 5, an LD Nat 4 that's going to make a substantial difference, or some sort of natural 4-star monster that's going to help us progress more quickly, whether it be a damage dealer or a support like Jasoon. Just a bunch of different things that I'm going to be looking out for. Because I also, like I said before in the previous account giveaway video, is that I'm looking for monsters that are going to be fun for you guys to play with. Of course, I always want to get you guys some interesting units, because I know it gets bland playing with the same units all the time, and I think that having extra units to play around with is fun, which is why I was really happy about the Hall of Heroes that came out while I had the March and the April giveaway accounts. So I was able to get some units for those accounts that are not the typical cookie cutter units that I was getting for the account anyways. And you'll see we have a speed slot 2 here, which really doesn't make a difference because we're not even going to power it up. It's not even worth that. We're just going to go get our slot 5 real quick and start moving on through the Talayan Forest. So in that forest is where we do get the Wind Inagami. I might go back there and grind a little bit for him. Hopefully we get him on our first run through. I mean, we have seven potential chances with each of the stages, of course. We have one for each stage to get the Wind Inagami. I really do want to play around with him because I think that Wind Leadership skill will be nice. He also provides the 100% defense break on the first skill at max skills, of course. So grinding him up would actually take more Inagami skill ups than a Belladion would, but he does damage on top of his defense break. He also has the strip on the second skill, much like Bella. So we'll see how that goes. I am a little bit worried about the lack of the attack bar increase from the Bella third skill and the lack of the higher healing, because Belladion's healing is a lot higher than the Wind Yeti's healing. I think if I put enough HP and speed on all my units, though, I can get over it. But again, that's another thing I'm worried about with this account, or not worried per se, but very intrigued about when it comes to progression, is I've never really taken the path of building my monsters extremely tanky before I'm able to put the speed on my units. I've always been very rushed into putting speed on my units because speed means more turns for your team. More turns means better consistency. And so the logical step for me is always get all my units as fast as possible, as soon as possible, which is usually why I try to get my Lapis to 160 speed so that I could do Feynman hard, like really easily, just because the turn advantage she gets. Get all my units up to 180, 190 speed for Giants, so I could be Giant speed 10 like as fast as possible. But I think using the leadership skill from the Wind Inagami, I might be able to cheat myself some more HP by swapping out that slot 2, since it's likely going to be a 4-star rune at best. I can't really rely on getting a 5-star rune from Scenario. The amount of grinding it takes to get the 5-star runes from there is really a lot, and unless you're leveling fodder while you're doing it, which is what I would highly recommend doing, level monsters at stages you're looking for runes for, right here in Mount White, Ragan. But if you're not leveling food up or leveling your monsters up to be able to farm Giants better, then I wouldn't recommend farming anything except for Giants, even if you could only do B6, B5. B5 is probably still going to be a tiny little bit better than Scenarios, because a blue rune, or a rune where you can have a substat, is much better, or is going to be much more reliable in terms of you understanding the quality of it as compared to a white rune, where you're not really sure what you're going to get, and it could be just about anything out of a grab bag. So we're going to go ahead into here. We're going to have our Shannon all here now. Take him out. So yeah, we're looking up for the Wind Inagami, because like I said, I do want to try out that team. I think I'm just going to bite the bullet and do it. The only problem might be Awakening, but yeah, because all the Wind Essence I'm going to need for that is going to be a lot. The other issue I might encounter when trying to progress through the game that way is that my elemental dungeons are going to be a little bit on the weak side. So with the typical Giants team, I believe I have 3 or 4 different elements, because we have a water unit, we have 2 wind units, we have a light unit and a dark unit. So we have a good amount of variety so that our teams aren't too element heavy. Element heavy teams are great for survivability and ease of rune quality, and Giants, of course, having a wind team is going to make your team survive longer, because the elemental advantage means that you take less damage. Sometimes occasionally the boss will glance, so a lesser chance of you getting hit with a normal attack or even a crit attack, and you'll do more damage to him because the 15% increased critical rate you have against water monsters. But at the same time, farming something like the Hall of Fire, for example, would be much more difficult, because when all you have is wind monsters leveled up, clearing those stages might be harder. Even when you get to the boss, especially when you get to the boss, where you have to deal with that elemental disadvantage, you might not be able to land your skills. But for that alone, I still have the Fire Hellhound. If I find that farming wind is a big issue, I can go back and get 4-star runes for my Hellhound. I don't think that's going to be too big of an issue, really. So I'm probably just going to progress with it. Anything else I'm looking for in this account? Like I said, besides the natural 4-stars, natural 4-stars are always a huge gift to progression, just because their base stats are like make a huge difference. That's why Magic Knight performs so well. Even with the really low multipliers and the relatively low base stats, low speed, low defense, low attack, all that, she still performs really well because of her her base stats as compared to the natural 2-star monsters and the 1 natural 3-star you're given at the beginning of the game. So any natural 4-star monster would help us progress. Potentially Mav for a Giants team. He's got the Provoke, which is nice, and he's got the cooldown, the AoE cooldown reduction by 1 turn, as well as the speed buff, which could be decent. I don't think I would replace Bernard for him. I do think that having him there might be interesting. I haven't really thought about him in the sense of a dragon or a Giants team before, so experimenting with him might be interesting. But if I do any real experimenting, I'm probably going to do it on either the Leica account or my account, just because I want to play around with some of these units and just put them on 4-star runes, right? Maybe I'll level up a Wind Elemental to 4-star max on my main account and then awaken it, and put some runes that I got from Scenario on it, just to see how it performs in those sections of the game. Because of course, I don't want to go and put, you know, my 6-star best attacker rune set on the Wind Elemental and then say, oh yeah, this can clear Giants B6 no problem. Well, of course it can, because, you know, it has 200% crit damage and 100% crit rate. Of course it's gonna, you know, clear Giants B6. But I want to put mediocre runes on it. I want to play around with the units and see if the wind synergy with that attack leader or the speed leadership skill from the Wind Inagami is going to be enough to progress me through. I know I said that I was going to show most of this. I don't want to bore you guys with like just this basic grind. If you guys are interested in seeing a like beginner grind series where I almost like a daily log of all the things I do on an account, or you want to watch me progress these accounts, which I don't know why you would. It's kind of the most tedious part of Summoners, where just working through the scenario stages. But if you're interested in that, always be free to tell me in the description below. I'm going to grind through this. I'm going to go get my LD scroll. And I'll probably clear at least through Aiden today and get my 4-star rune sets. So I'll have a Fatal Blade blue and purple set on my Magic Knight. After that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to farm up to Giants B3 and get my Bernard, because of course he's going to help me progress even further through the scenario, as well as trying to get into early levels of Giants. And then I'm going to head back to Scenarios to get 3 and 4-star runes for the rest of my units. If you have any questions or comments on the account, be sure to leave them below. If you want to enter to win this account, because when I'm done with this account, of course, I give it away, I have the Gleam.io link in the description. Make sure to click on that and enter if you're interested in that. If you don't think the account's going to look good at the end, feel free to look at my other accounts. I'm always happy to take criticism, you know, just be respectful in the comment section. But thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Hey guys, it's West again. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe for more.